meeting to order of the Building Standards Commission. The first thing we will do, if you will rise, is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a consent agenda which is has one item on it, and that's the approval of the minutes from the June 1st meeting. Do we have any suggested revisions, additions?
No, I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. The regular agenda is a review of the property of 7225 North Street, which involves a number of structures on it. And I will ask Angela with the city staff to review that. And then we will call for a public hearing after that.
Good afternoon, Angela Sowell, City of Nacogdoches Code Enforcement Supervisor. I am bringing these structures before this commission. There was an error that I made when I presented them before. There's 8 structures. So we'll go through each one of them again, so that everyone is refreshed on what has happened. We'll go to Exhibit 1. Well, we'll go through the staff report first. The staff report, the property was annexed. This property at 7225 North Street was annexed into the City of Nacogdoches September 21st, 2016. All city codes went into effect at that time. Copies of the ordinances were given to the owners as to what it would take to bring this property into compliance with the City of Nacogdoches building and zoning with our city codes. Certified letters were sent to the owners on numerous occasions as to what items needed to be corrected throughout the years. All the way up until 2020, there was no action because of COVID. Everything kind of ceased. 2021, we started again on trying to get this property into compliance. Notices were sent again as far as all the violations, the junk vehicles, substandard buildings, high grass and weeds, rubbish, as well as items that were in the right-of-way. In February of this year, notice was sent for screening the zoning ordinance, what it required as far as screening for commercial properties. Letter was sent, a notice was given to the owners. Nothing has been, at that time, had been done to bring the property into compliance. In March of 2022, charges were filed. Letters were sent again for the substandard buildings. The screening was still not taken care of. nor were the buildings, that were out of compliance or the rubbish and junk that was on the property. This August, we've met with the owners and their attorneys to get a plan of action. As of this week, there has still not, everything has not been done for the property to be in compliance. So I'm bringing these structures back to you, to this board. We'll go through, we'll start with Exhibit 1. It's a dilapidated trailer house. The doors open. It's not secured. Our Code of Ordinance calls for the properties to be secured. If they're unoccupied, they need to be secured, structurally sound, and closed up from animals and, vagrants going into them. There's weeds growing up around the property. The first pictures were taken in May of this year. September the 6th, same structure, same condition as before. Exhibit 2 is a double-wide trailer that has a hole in the top, in the roof of it. It's open to the elements, substandard. There's weeds growing up around it. September the 6th, we took additional pictures. There has been a tarp of some kind placed on top of it, which is only a temporary fix. Exhibit 3 is a mobile home that is covered with weeds. The right portion of it is totally demolished. It's open. Can't see it very well because of the weeds, but on the next picture, it's a little bit better. It's totally demolished, open. September the 6th, the structure's still in the same place, still in the same condition. Nothing's been done to bring it into compliance. We'll go through to Exhibit 4 is a rusted trailer. Looks kind of like a storage trailer, but the door is open on it, unsecured. Weeds growed up around it, still in the same condition as before. Exhibit 5 is a double-wide mobile home. The siding was appeared to have been coming off the front back in May when these pictures were originally taken. September the 6th, looks like the siding has been completely removed, but the structure, other than that, the structure seems to be in the same shape as before. Let's see here. Exhibit 6 is a small double-wide trailer kind of in the back, covered with weeds, partially dilapidated. That was in May. September the 6th, the same condition, covered with weeds, unsecured, and dilapidated. Okay. Exhibit 7, in May, there's a trailer that is unsecured, all the siding removed from it, covered with weeds. September, we have It's in the same shape. No siding on it. Still covered with weeds. Exhibit 8 shows a smaller double-wide trailer that is dilapidated, unsecured, partially. Most of the siding is all decayed. As of September 6th, it's in the same condition. We have a few other pictures. On today, an inspection was made at the property. There's a couple of storage containers that are there on the property. They're still weeded. The property is still weeded in areas. There's still a lot of junk on the property. There's still vehicles that are in the public right-of-way. There's an unregistered truck that's in the right-of-way. There's a couple of storage containers that are have been added to the property since the original siting. As you can see, there's still vehicles in the right-of-way. Is that it?
Okay. Thank you for
Okay.
presenting all that.
Yes.
It is the second time we've seen it,
Yes, sir.
and it doesn't look terribly different from when I was a student, except the trees are taller.
Mr.
What are
Chairman,
your recommendations at this point?
Staff, city staff at this time recommends that the structures be demolished or removed within 10 days. The vehicles that are in the right-of-way need to be moved within 10 days. That is staff recommendation.
Okay. Thank you very much. Before we get into questions from any of the members of the commission, we will have a public hearing. We have a standard thing with city meetings, limit your comments unless there's a specific reason that requires their extension to 3 minutes. And please come to the microphone, and I'll recognize each hand that's put up.
Mr. Chairman,
And
there's several people come in, didn't sign in, that may be speaking.
Oh.
They need to do that.
yes, anyone who has come in, please sign in so that we have a record of attendance, please. But also, when you do prepare to speak, identify yourself and any connection you have with the property of the family. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the issue?
Hi, I'm Kevin Dillon. I am the guy that gets to run that place and has for, well, I'd say the majority of my life. Went to school at SFA for a year and spent a few years at Texas A&M University and came back to run our family-owned and operated business. As most of you know, it is very tough to try to find people that will work either on your property or hand in hand in the ditch with you. That's the way I work. I don't care where it is, who they are. If they can't outwork me, they won't stay around very long. But I'd say that I plead with Angela for being persistent about her plight and working with us. Some of the things that the pictures didn't show were 5 or 6 vehicles that are on the right-of-way, things that have been removed. The bucket truck is a running truck. We haven't put it in our name. We have been a business through the years that have sold just about anything. Just about anything. My dad taught me that you don't sell shoes from a store out of an empty shoebox. Always have things out there that people want. And if you've ever been by my business, or our business, not mine, I can say that we do our best to wait on you. Whether it's mobile home supplies, whether it's sewer supplies, whether it's a septic tank or anything else along that line that we do. We sell barrels. We sell lots of stuff, containers. We sell farm implements. My dad has farm implements. My goodness, if you come out to Lake Nacogdoches, let me let you take out there. What's the guy's name on Rothenberger? It's had 2 or 3 places. None of you don't really, that doesn't ring a bell to you. But that guy had a lot of farm implements. And his kids have just finished cleaning that place off by Jim Weatherly's East Texas Vet Clinic. They've moved all the equipment off there. I guess they've sold it. I don't really know. But what I would say is that a lot of these things have gotten there over the years. A lot of them have been cleaned up. But oftentimes when we make a step forward, there seems to be a hurricane or a tornado that comes and knocks our feet back the other way. I definitely did not ask to be annexed and lose a stand that spent $100,000 building a metal stand to sell fireworks from. We'd been on the Belt property there, sold to us by Jesse Millard. We'd been on that property for 45 years. And you know what the benevolent city did when they annexed us? They offered us 1 year to get our money back. And that's really gracious. I want you to know I really appreciate that. But I'd say, if many of you may or may not know, I don't know what business y'all have been in, but you can't recoup that kind of money in 37 seconds. I would encourage you for any indulgence that you can give us towards cleaning up our property, doing whatever it is that you want. But I'd say what we've seen so far is that when we take a step to us, it's not a step to the city. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to it? Sure. Go ahead.
My name is Tanner Franklin. I am the attorney that represents the Builinds in this matter. I'm not going to belabor the point too much. My clients are trying to improve. They have made some changes. The tarps, the siding's been removed. They're working to try to get some compliance and back into what the city considers good graces. But they're a running business. They're a business here in Nacogdoches County and in the city. They pay taxes just like everyone else. They just want a chance. Let's give them some time to be able to get some more compliance. I understand this has been a lengthy process. A lot of things have happened over the last few years, including COVID and all sorts of other things. But they're a small mom and pop business, and they need to be able to function as a business in Nacogdoches County. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Sharon Rice. I'm a little nervous. This is crazy. When you start looking at stuff and telling people they have 10 days, I'm like, 10 days? But anyway, so I drove by their place today to be open-minded. I want to buy one of those containers. Those are hard to find. And I'm thinking, we own a poultry farm. I need one of those containers. I wouldn't have known they had it if it wouldn't have been there. I could go to Houston, but I'd rather shop locally. Now, as a mother of a daughter that's a nurse at the local medical hospital, when the ice storm came through and the plumbing did not work, the Dillons came through with the porta potties to the hospital, to SFA, to the sheriff's department. They do a good job around. Now, I realize that a lot of you don't understand what a good septic system is, because most of the city is not under a septic. My house is under a septic. When I need their help, they are there. So being a mom and pop organization, this isn't a large corporation. My family owns a poultry farm. We have no workers. If y'all were to come up there and analyze it and gave me 10 days out, we'd be in a heap of hurt. You can't find people to work anymore. They're doing the best they can. I drove by it. My daughters work for them. They're good people. But to ask them to remove all that stuff in 10 days, That's unreasonable. And I still want to buy a container.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Austin Dillon.
Can you speak?
My name's Austin Dillon.
Thanks.
I'm the son of Kevin Dillon. I'm part of this family. My grandpa's Forrest Dillon. We've been here for generations. Our family at one point lived across the street, the place that is apparently a hay field, which I've never seen hay in my whole life. I'm 30, by the way. But my grandpa built this whole place, and what he really instilled in me was that, one, he came up out of right at the end of the Great Depression, right? Well, I don't have any idea about that. No stinking idea. I mean, it must have been a hard time. All I know is that when I talked to him about things, he had a different reverence and a different respect and understanding for the stuff that I thought was a pile of junk, the stuff that many people in here are calling a pile of junk. What I can tell you is I have pulled out probably 20 different implements that I never knew I would need out of his pile of old farm equipment. Now, when we start at the front, we've seen the pictures. What's next? We've taken steps for years to clean up what y'all asked us to clean up. We've moved many mobile homes, torn mobile homes down, moved buildings, moved trucks, done all kinds of things that were not listed here today, by the way. But we have done a lot, and I have been a lot of the grunt work myself. But my grandpa piled up some of these things that are now worthless. I've got probably what has cost me $500 to $1,000 in parts to fix hoses and implements, parts of the implements. If I bought those brand new, 10, 20,000 a piece on certain discs and tillers and hay unrollers and things that help build the soil. I'm a farmer and rancher here in Nacogdoches. We all talk about buying local, eating local, all that. I'm at the epitome of it. I am in my blood and my bones. I got pine flowing, okay? Really. I got the resin coming out of me, and I'm about the soil here, and I'm about feeding my community, okay? My grandpa got cows because he loved the locals, right? So if we're going to talk about locals right now, we need to share an understanding with each other. You said that you were young. You remember this place not changing since you were in college. We're all about community here in Nacogdoches. That's all we've got. Let's treat each other as neighbors. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else?
One more time.
Oh, once, please. One time.
Hello, I'm Marcia Dillon, part owner, whatever. I don't speak in public. But this is our lives that y'all are, that you're holding. This is our livelihood. This is our, no, it doesn't look like a golf course. But I don't know about y'all, but for many years, we've been working 7 days a week. We try and take care of our customers, and like she said, if you don't live in the county, you can't really appreciate maybe what we do, but my husband has built the septic part of it by taking care of his people. And it's hard to tell a client or a customer, I'm sorry that your toilets aren't working, but the city wants me to do this. And I feel like we have made a lot of steps over the years, but it's a slow process of what's more important. And I realize this is very important to y'all. But my livelihood and helping customers and taking care of people, is where we stand. Not saying that we are not willing, but we've also done a lot. And every time we do something, well, it wasn't good enough. So let's just push and push and push. I think that there needs to be some kind of working with each other and trying to resolve things instead of just do this and, like the trucks. Okay, well, that truck is there today because it was working and we were using it. And so I don't really know where I was going with that, but it's not like we're just parking everything along the roads. Yes, there were some, but back at earlier in the year, they all got removed. We don't bring those things up. We also, in the middle of all this, my husband had heart surgery. That slows a few things down also, which the city knew about that. And so I guess that's just my heart of, we're not saying we don't want to do anything, but, you know, we need some help. Thank you.
My name is Tom Patterson. I just wanted to, again, speak on their behalf as well. I'm a customer of theirs. I've gone over and purchased products from them. I've gone over and bought fireworks from their location. And again, when I go to their location, what I have never, the impression that I've ever had when I go over there as a customer, the weeds have never even crossed my mind. I mean, I don't even know why, you know what I mean? If I'm going over there to go buy something and they've got products that I'm looking for, yeah, weeds in the back of the property have never even crossed my mind. But the Dillons are Johnny on the spot. If we need anything, we have a septic service out at our farm. They come up and, you know, provide great service, and they're great people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Dillon, I prefer that you not. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Terry Thompson. I've actually been one of their tenants for almost 30 years. I've worked for them. They're great people. They've done some stuff and helped me through some really bad situations. Sometimes they do move a little slow, but I'm very thankful that Kevin's still here after his heart attack, or after his heart surgery. And time, they will get things done. So I believe they just need a little more time. They're good people.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, all of you who have attended, and particularly those who have had comments to make. We have the recommendations from staff. You've heard the people speak who have wished to do so in favor of the Dillon family. The question at this point is quite specifically one area, and this is the structures. The areas around them fall under a different type of jurisdiction, but certainly within the city, we have maintenance requirements. We have requirements for keeping weed control and that sort of thing. But the thing that we are here to decide on is the structures themselves as listed. And the implication, of course, is clean up the whole area around it. But it's the structures which are the issue that we're approaching. So, do we have any motion as to what we should do? We have the suggestion from city staff of a demolition order. One thing that might be worth considering with anyone, if you agree with the staff position on demolition, is that a contract with an established contractor would, you know, within the 10-day period would certainly be, I would think, enough to justify setting up a schedule, a known schedule, not an endless one. But that's just a suggestion from me. Do we have any opinions?
I noticed on what was written here, it says on May the 12th, 2017, certified letter was sent, blah, 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 with a timeline on bringing into compliance. What was that timeline then, and is it the same structures we're talking about?
Elena Helton, Director of Planning and Neighborhood Services. Will you repeat your question one more time?
Okay, it's on, after the page, after the condemned structures. It says, certified letter was sent with a timeline on bringing into compliance. Is that the same structures, or is that different structures that have already been removed?
Those were the same structures.
Okay, and what was the timeline? Any idea?
I don't have that letter at hand, but typically we give people anywhere from 3 to 6 months. But what we ask for is a proposed timeline to give us an idea of when those things are going to be removed. 3 months is generous. We like to have compliance immediately, especially when we've been working with someone as long as we have. And several of these letters have gone unanswered. And so when we don't get a response, we assume there's an intent for noncompliance. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry, I don't have that document on hand to give you the exact time. Typically, it's around 3 months, 6 maximum, maybe. In this case, I can imagine that we gave them more than 90 days.
So we've been waiting for 5 years to get this done, basically,
Yes,
for the same structures?
yes.
Any other discussion? I prefer to have a motion for us to discuss on, but, yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just breathing, and it made a noise.
Okay.
So you were discussing 10 days to come up with a timeline? Is that what you were indicating?
Well, this is just a thought on my part. 10 days would be a perfectly reasonable time to identify a contractor, because getting this removed piecemeal would be extremely hard to monitor and could go on for an extended period of time. So, however they wish to do it, I think something has been recommended, a 10-day limit. And my suggestion was that in lieu of actual removal during that time or by that time, an established contractor with a commitment for a start date and a finish date would also be fitting for that. But that's merely my suggestion. I'm not making a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Stephen Kirkland, your city attorney.
Yes.
The 10-day timeline was chosen because it matches up with the right of appeal. So the idea was...
Do you have a microphone there?
I do. The
Good.
10-day timeline was chosen because it matches up with their right of appeal. If they choose to appeal your order, which you would issue today, if you ordered demolition and they choose to appeal, they have 10 days to do that and to do that to City Council. If they don't do that, then the 10 days would be the time at which the city could then step in and do abatement on its own. The city still has to get bids and a contractor lined up in order to do that.
Yeah.
So they would have additional time in order to continue to do this if they come up with their own plan.
Sure.
What's more is you all have already seen this about, 30 days ago. And they still haven't made compliance a target, because you've seen both the May and the September photos showing that they've still had the same buildings are still there with generally the same conditions.
Yep.
So I appreciate the concern that these folks need time to do that. They've had significant time to do that. They've even had time to do it since we restarted the enforcement efforts after COVID. And I will represent to you now that if they come to the city with a contract, we'll hold off on proceeding forward. They haven't done that. We've had that offer to them for a significant period of time, and they've not come forward with anything that I could represent to you that they're moving forward in good faith.
So a contract or a plan of action for them?
A contractor. Someone capable of doing that is my suggestion anyway.
No, I'm asking
Yeah.
him.
Right.
They've not come forward with anything.
No plan of action or anything.
No, ma'am.
understand what you're saying.
Right. If they come forward with something, we'll stop, we'll look at it, we'll give it a once-over, and if it's viable, then we'll hold up. But I can't offer any more than that, which frankly is what you've been offering for the last 6 years. Or
Well,
5 years.
Thank you for clarifying that. It has been the opinion of this commission for a good while now that the best thing is for the property owner to clean it up themselves and render the property itself, the land, clean and neat. And that has been done many, many times. And that's, of course, is our preference. But in those times when it simply isn't done, as you point out, the city will be authorized to do it, or they can, I would guess, step in with their own contractor and replace that function. But that has to be done in some sort of time frame. So any motion should either agree with the 10 days or suggest a different time.
It's a hard one.
Why don't you make the motion? You get the wording right.
I mean, it's hard. Well, I will say, you know, we all love the Dillon family and we all know they're good people. That's not the issue to me. I mean, I've known Kevin and Marcia just about all my life, but, you know, it makes it hard because it's been going on for so long, you know, on what to do, how, if we had a plan of action and there was so much is gonna be done ever so often, I would be for that, but
Any motion made should have a time, should be time specific for compliance to the satisfaction of
the city.
Angela and the city attorney.
Not to us specifically, but to the city.
To the city, not
Right.
the city attorney.
Right.
Well, as far as reviewing the paperwork, we'd count on you.
I'll do that for you.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay. Let's see if I can get the wording right. I make a motion that we follow staff recommendations.
Can you speak
sorry.
into the microphone?
I make a recommendation, we follow staff recommendations for a 10-day, I guess it would be 10 working day time frame to bring this problem into resolution. Need to add anything?
Okay, that is in keeping with the staff recommendation.
I second.
Second? Got that? Any further discussion?
I have one question. Angela, you mentioned on the original presentation that there was an error that you wanted to address. I don't know that I caught specifically what that correction was.
Commissioner, I'll answer that for you. The original orders that were issued after you all directed demolition did not have a time for compliance. And that's why those orders were not enforced, and we are back before you today, and we need a time for compliance so that we can proceed.
So I wanna make sure, clarification, if they come back with a plan of action or something that could go, the city will revisit and relook to figure out how it could be resolved?
Yes, ma'am. No one on staff wants to do this. No one on staff wants to run a demolition business, and we don't want to spend city money hiring a contractor when there are other needs that we have to do. If they will step forward and take care of that, then we will hold off on forcing compliance with the orders, and we would report back to you that that's what we've done.
And the cost of the demolition that the city does that revert back to them, or?
If we implement an abatement action where we're demolishing, then by statute, we're allowed to assess the damages, the cost to the home, to the property owner, And if they don't pay, we can place a lien on their property.
Do we allow, I've got to ask all these questions. Do we allow, like a payout plan or whatever? Because, I mean, I understand a mom and pop business. I don't want to put somebody where they're out of business. I mean, I think we need to be able to work with people. I'm just asking, is there some type of plan that we could work with a family?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What would happen is the demolition order gets issued. If they're unable to comply, then we would find a contractor to do it and then hire the contractors to come in and do it. They would take care of that. The cost would be paid by the city. We would place a lien on the property for that amount, and we would release the lien as they paid it down.
Okay, so we could come up with a plan of how many years or whatever to pay it out.
We don't get paid on a lien until they sell the property.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Right,
for
yeah.
Okay.
So they could take the lien, remove the lien by paying us off before they sell it. But if they were to sell the property, then we would get the lien, the proceeds from the sale would cover our lien.
Okay.
Is it our, in keeping with the motion and staff's recommendation of the 10 days, is it our responsibility to potentially present alternate demolition schedules? I empathize with the family and the burden of ridding all of these structures at once. However, the responsibility of us is with the citizens of Nacogdoches, and there has been a lot of grace and patience up to this point, and it's unfortunate that it has culminated in the need to demolish 8 structures in 10 days, and I can sympathize with that being a burden that is happening all at once. I struggle because our responsibility is to the citizens, and the grace and the patience has been extended and has run out, honestly. Is it our responsibility to, in keeping with the spirit of both, with a firm action, but also in the spirit of the patience, to present a demolition plan that has benchmarks, and if at any point in that demolition plan a benchmark is not met, staff or the city then takes action, meaning there's 8 structures, you are required to demolish 2 structures a month at the end of 4 months if all 8 structures are not gone, or if at any month along that period a benchmark is not met, the city steps in. I don't know if that's too complicated. I've just,
Commissioner, it is within your purview to suggest demolition order in any way you wish to suggest it. I would recommend that you not do that and allow staff to negotiate such a plan if that's something that the Dillons are willing to entertain.
Okay. Within the 10 days that we grant them.
Right.
Okay, I understand.
Good. Angela has been successful for a while, a number of years, in getting many properties done by the owners, and where it simply wasn't going to work, she has negotiated the solution for it. So that would certainly be appropriate for her to do within this very simple motion.
Right.
Okay, a motion, second? Are you, everyone okay with the wording of it? All in favor? Aye. Aye. It's a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. So that is the one item on there. I would like to do one extra thing, and that is introduce, just raise your hand, the new members. Harry, is it Tervalin?
Well, I'll accept that, sir, but Tervalon's usually the way.
Okay, thank you. These are new. Harry is an alternate member. John Wyndham is right here, who is a regular member, and Steve Crory contacted me. He has an extensive real estate background and has moved here from Austin. He called me from Colorado to say he couldn't be here. So wanted to get those people introduced. The rest of the people are the regular ones. the whole idea of our having this structure with alternate members is because this being a very good example, we're dealing with people and their property, and we want to have a full 5-member commission of member people sitting up here to make that decision, rather than doing it with a mere quorum. So that's why we have it set up this way, because it is a serious issue and it's one that requires some careful thought. So I thank you very much. I thank the new people and the current members of the board. Unless there's anything else that needs to be dealt with, we will stand adjourned.